Thank you so much. I know mid-afternoon after lunch, you'd probably would much rather cool up and take a nap. But we wanted to bring in sort of a community hero, sort of a leader. Yeah, that's you. To really talk about, overall career strategy and really share his story. We're really thankful that ThreadCare came on as a sponsor here in Higher Ground. Without further ado, Marcus Carey.
Hey, thanks a lot. My wife's here in the front row, so she thinks I'm awesome now. Thank you very much. She's gonna think I'm kind of a badass. I love it. All right, so hey, thanks for coming. I'm always surprised when I have more than one or two people in the room with me. So I usually do these talks in the mirror to myself to make myself feel good. All right, so I'm going to go through like the kind of things that I kind of been through. As far as like how I got to where I'm at right now, some people think that I've done some pretty cool stuff, so I want to share with everybody. So hopefully this all works. I'm doing it with Chromebook. All right, so when I was 18 years old, I joined the U.S. Navy, and I was like really fortunate that I scored pretty high on my ASVAB test, the military entrance exam. And on that exam, I tested out high, so I ended up going to the crypto field. So I did cryptography. I went to Pensacola, Florida, and trained doing all kind of cool stuff. And it was pretty interesting because I didn't know at the time. My recruiter was funny because he didn't have a clearance or anything. He was what they call a boatswain mate in the Navy. We got any sailors in the house? Marines? Hey, Marines a sailor to me all day. All right, so boatswain's mate they kind of like drive the ship and all that stuff. They don't do like tech related work. So I was like, what's a CT? And my recruiter says, I don't know. It's classified. I don't know. So ended up working for NSA and Central Security Service for 8.5 years while I was in, which was pretty dope. So what's funny is I tell people all the time I'm ghetto. I'm hood, but I was at NSA with all these like brilliantly smart people, and I learned a lot about technology. So I'm still crazy when it comes to a lot of stuff. If you follow me on Twitter, you know I'm crazy. So, but anyway, got to work at NSA, and am I crazy? Yes. So working for those people, what was cool. So there I started doing certifications, and I had a military friend tell me, hey, before you get out the military, you have to take these things called CLEP tests or Dante's tests or whatever. Who's ever taken any of those tests? So I really believe it's a conspiracy that most people don't take these tests because the colleges won't make money because you could save like tons of money on this. Also, in the military, I started learning how to take tests. So in the Navy, what you have to do every twice a year, I believe, you have to take a test for promotion. And so it's a very technical test. They give you a study. They tell you what the test is going to be on, and you have to study those subjects, and you have to take the test. It's usually on your career field or rate if you're enlisted. So being enlisted, I got to learn how to take tests really well. So that test-taking things have taken me a long way. So a lot of the stuff I'm going to talk about is how I take certification tests, and I've taught this to a lot of people, and it works really good. So I see a lot of people online asking, how do I get this cert? How do I get that cert? So I'm going to tell you how to. I'm going to give you cheat codes so you can pass any certification. And I've taken a lot of them. So on this list, a long time ago, I used to take a lot of certifications. Some of these are expired even. Some of these are evergreen, but most of them have expired. All the Cisco stuff. So I'll give you, this is going to be funny. I'm going to dispel a lot of myths. Everybody that works at NSA is not really smart. So there's janitors with clearances. So, and there's nothing wrong with being a janitor, but the truth is, like, if I said I worked at NSA, and you probably think I was amazing, but I could be a cook or something, right? Which is awesome, but that don't mean that I'm smart, right? So I started off how NSA works is they have tons of military people like myself doing a lot of support roles. So I arrived at NSA, I was an E5, and they put the military on the crappiest jobs that they can give you. It's so funny. And the contractors and civilians at NSA do the cool stuff. But what I started finding, I ask more questions than anybody ever ask. I don't know, my wife might ask more questions than I do though. But I'm the most inquisitive person you want to know. I'm not afraid to not know anything. Sometimes people accuse me of being a jerk, but actually I love being the dumbest person in the room. So I ask tons of questions about anything. So when I was at NSA, I used to ask these people that I thought were beasts, like, man, this person is doing Cisco or whatever. And I was like, hey, how do you do this? And I would ask them questions and stuff, and they would tell me answers that I thought were right. And this is what this is the theme of my life. Even in cybersecurity, you're going to ask a bunch of questions to a lot of people. And one of my Techstar mentors told me that there was a lot of wrong answers. So just because people tell you something don't mean it's true. I mean, half the stuff I can tell you could be a total lie. I don't know. I'm going to try to keep it real, though. So here's the deal. At NSA, these people were telling me this stuff, and I was like, okay, cool. That's how this worked. That's how that worked. But when I started reading text and materials, like CCNA, for example, I started like, wow, that person doesn't know what they're doing. The more you know that you don't know a lot of stuff. But the thing is, I think most of us are, it's kind of funny because I'm going to throw out a term. I think we're all actors. I think we're all acting a role. And I think just like an actor acts in a script, you have to understand your script and the role that you're playing. And you can learn it. So if you look at my man Denzel Washington, we'll get more on Denzel in a little bit here. Denzel studies the part so well that he develops tics and all these people like Brad Pitt. I love Leonardo DiCaprio. All these people study their character that they're playing. So I think in real life, you have to study what you're trying to do to play the role. I'm really confident we're all actors. So started studying my CCNA, and this is how I progressed to NSA. And forgive me if I sound like I'm bragging on anything. I'm just stating facts. Started NSA, they had me doing a crappy job trying to do this messaging platform for the whole world. So what's cool, you get cleared, and you see every piece of intel ever, right? What was crazy is an 18 and 19-year-old, it was hilarious because I was like totally panicking, thinking the world was always going to go to war. Because troops are amassing here. You get to read all this intel, you're like, man. But then I found out later that sometimes intel gets it wrong, right? So got to work in the NSA, was working a crappy job, and like, dang, man, I'm doing messaging. It's like, seriously, kill the alarm, kill the beep. That was their job. And there were civilians here working for years, and that was their job. It was like, they would push their button. Oh, it's a button ring on the right. No, this is my button right here. And that's how some civilians were at NSA. So if there's any NSA people in here, they know what I'm talking about. I'm spitting it real, keeping it 100. So I did my CCNA. It's like, wow, you're the first CCNA in this whole department or whatever at NSA, right? The first CCNA at the joint. And then I did my CCNP, and I got promoted to a day job, which is a dream job. A lot of NSA stuff is 24 hours, like it's a day shift, mid shift, and eve. So I got promoted to the IP team, is what they call the NSA. So I was working with the global management for NSA. I managed Cisco stuff all over the world. And it was pretty dope because it was a crazy Cisco network. And it was dope because I had my CCNP, but I was a paper CCNP. And how many people, you might like paper certs, they just studied and do that. But what I found is if you get the paper, then you get moved into positions. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I remember one time we had it was a site located in the continental U.S. I probably shouldn't tell where the site's at. But this site, I had a buddy from the Air Force just transferred to this site. And it was so funny because my first couple of weeks on the job, I shut a router down in that field site. So this NSA field site was totally cut off from the earth. And so luckily I had a buddy there to tell him, hey, can you reboot that router for me? So my buddy boom, reboot the router, the site's back online. But another thing is if you're not failing, because there's a lot of people talk all the time about how all they do is win, win, win. You swear to God, well, who did the win? Who's that? who's win-win-win? Is that, that's a DJ Khaled or something, right? So people, that's a lie. If people aren't failing, they're not trying. You know, and additionally, it's good to have a paper cert to get you in a position. So whatever cert you're going to get it. These certs don't make you. The experience, I think, once you get in, is going to make you who you are. So, like I said, I think 2 of these certs are still active even, but I don't put certs on my LinkedIn, and I'm not hating on people to do. I think I have the CEH and Security Plus. I think they're evergreen and they don't expire, but I had CISSP that expired too. I don't really. So anyway, that's how, and I'm going to tell you how to kill these things as well. So. All right, so let's talk about, and another thing that I did really well, I took all those certs, it was all paper certs. Again, they got me in a position that I was able to succeed. Also, I did my bachelor's degree from Excelsior College, and I don't know if you ever heard of Excelsior before, but you can look it up. I don't know where you are in your education journey. Some people believe they have to have a degree. I don't believe you have to have a degree, personally. My son, there's my wife here in the front row, but my son started working for Rapid7 when he was 16 years old on an internship, and he started working full-time when he was 17. Now I think he's in line for a promotion to senior software engineer or something like that at Rapid7. So I tried these tips on my real-life son. We always called him he was our experiment, the first one. So it ended up being a cool experiment because he's off making good money coding. My son is the best Ruby developer I know, and I know a lot of Ruby developers. So the stuff I'm telling you, it works. I've tried it on my son. I've tried it on peers. I've tried it on people that I know, people that were transitioning out the military, people who are trying to break into their career. This stuff works. So I got 13 more minutes, and this is going to be action-packed. So let's do this. So CLEP tests are like AP tests. If you never heard of them before, CLEP tests are like AP tests. In high school, you can take an advanced course, and at the end, you take a test, and it's worth 3 college credits. Most people don't know that there's I don't know the exact number, but I would say there's probably more than 40 or 50 of these tests, and that might be on the low side. If you're in the U.S., most colleges take these because they're accredited by the American Council on Education. They're the same people that give credits for any class you took at a traditional college. 3 credits, and some of the tests are worth 6 credits. So if you were a lot of people I meet, man, I did 3.5 years of college or something like that. I see people like that all the time. Or I did a year and a half and I almost had my associates. I've met people like that a lot, and I say, hey man, you should check out CLEPs. You can probably test out on a couple of classes and finish your degree. So I became so good at this that I used a combination of the 3 tests that you see up here. DSST is another one. There's like 30-something tests, DSST. And Excelsior College exams, I tested out of 115 college credits. So 115 college credits, you only need 120 for most degree programs. So I pretty much, I tell people I did the Abraham Lincoln School of College. I was kind of like self-taught. Because I mapped out the curriculum, I studied the tests, and I'm going to show you exactly how I passed all those tests. Because I think it's I don't know if everybody can do it, but I can guarantee you, even if your kids did it, you would save a lot of money on your kids going to college. All right, so that's about the test by examination. So I got my undergrad from Excelsior College. The reason why I went there is because that college, anybody know Excelsior in the house? Anybody, an alums from Excelsior? Undergrad Excelsior. This was cool because they had no transfer or residency requirements. A lot of people take classes here and there, especially in the military, and they have nowhere to go to confer their degree because a lot of colleges say you have to have 15 upper level from here and 45. You can only transfer this crap and this crap. So that sucks because you might be totally out of state. The online program doesn't work. Well, with Excelsior, they don't have any residency requirements, and it's completely regionally accredited. So Excelsior is accredited by the same people that is Syracuse, Duke, whatever, North Carolina. It's accredited by the same accrediting body. So that's pretty dope. So I went and did a master's degree from Capital. It was Capital College back in the day. They just rebranded to Capital Technology University. So I did a master's degree from there. And what's cool about all this is I paid $0. Well, I paid a total of $2,000, and I have a master's degree. And that's pretty dope. Because a lot of people I know are still paying off college debt. That college debt real, right, TJ? Funny enough, TJ's like, I want to hack Fannie Mae or whatever. What is Sally Mae? Whatever. Sally Mae. So I told TJ you can only use your hacking skills for good. So the dark side has cookies and jail time. All right. So another hack that I do in my life, and you could do this as well, is I do Audible a lot. So over the last 5 years, and this is totally by accident, a couple of things. I didn't have a plan, but over the last 5 years, because I'm an auditory learner, so you got to figure out your learning technique. Some people learn hands-on, some people learn from listening, whatever, right? So whatever that way is, you can like totally win. So I did 120 something books over the last 5 years. And like a lot of people don't do that kind of stuff. That's like a big library, but I just listen to it online. I mean, with Audible, and I just learn all the time. Sometimes I get addicted and I'll do like 5 books in a week. And then I'll lay off. And then if I something else, I'll learn. So now as an entrepreneur, what I really want to learn is sales. So all I do is listen to sales material. I listen to the best salespeople I can get. So I'm always looking for sales books. So if any of y'all sales guys in here, let me know. So this book is super relevant. This is a book that I'm recommending everybody because it's definitely related to our career. So if you go to, I just came back from Black Hat. Everybody's talking about artificial intelligence and machine learning. So this book called On Intelligence is by Jeff Hawkins. And this is cool for just knowing your stuff. Because when people try to bring in AI or machine learning, you can actually speak the language and vernacular. So this book about Jeff Hawkins is a pretty phenomenal guy. He invented the Palm Pilot. He has a degree in neuroscience and computer science. And what he does is he compares the human brain to machine learning and AI. It's an absolutely phenomenal read. And if you're struggling to understand AI, I recommend this book. So this is about hacking a career. How do you know what's bullcrap and what's not? I hate FUD. Our actual motto at our company is something like, we exist to eliminate fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So this book is dope. Check it out. This is just for your career. All right, so here's how to study for any of the things that we talked about before. Here's all certifications. So this is a sample DSST outline. This is and some people refer to it as Dante's, right? Every test that you ever want to do in life, if you did SAT or ACT, it gives you percentages of what an examination is going to be on and even what kind of problems. So some people study these things blindly. I don't understand that because like there is a way. In the military, they kind of tell you what was on the exam and you did the exam. So all these tests, they tell you percentages of how, this is like from a criminal justice DSST, right? So if some of the people here may be law enforcement, a lot of people transition from law enforcement to cyber. And I don't know if sometimes they have a degree or not, but these tests are different from any other tests. All the credit by examinations, they judge you essentially on what would a student, if they were studying the same course, what would how much would they remember after like 8 months or something? It's some kind of scientific thing because everything you do, you only remember a certain amount of it. You're not going to remember anything from this talk. Hopefully you take one note about it. So you're only going to remember 20% of what you learn in any given thing. So here, you're not judged on 25% of the class. You're judged on 25%, essentially like what was that person that studied it? No, at that point. So I would say if I saw something with 15% and saw something with 25% of the test, I'm studying 25%, 25%, 25%. I'm going to know that stuff inside out, and I'm going to know peripheral information. But even nowadays, I did all this without Wikipedia. You can go to Wikipedia and build you a study guide based on this. Like definition of crime, blah, blah, blah. Put that into Wikipedia. Put it in Google. Like, it's like super easy to build your own study guides to this material. Read the material, and it's like you have to get less than 50% on these tests to get college credit. It's ridiculous, right? So anybody in the military, I know there's a couple of military people in here. You got to take advantage of that. The CLEPs are free for military personnel. It's insane. So that's why I did it. 115 credits for $0. So here's the study materials I used on that. So Cliff Notes, funny enough, Cliff Notes has the official outline for many of these things. And since ACE accredited these tests, they actually tell you, like, this is what's required. When they look at North Carolina or Duke, their classes have to follow this same syllabus in order to grant college credits. So if you read the Cliff Notes, you're going to be super close to that. It's this other thing called standard deviance. Anybody ever used those before? They're really dope because they actually walk you through it, and they teach you like I tell people I'm a dumb country boy. So you got to break stuff down to me real simple. And they break stuff down real simple and I'm telling you, if you have kids, you're killing yourself if you don't. Your kids in high school can take these exams, and they're like $100 a pop. Your kids, you can save about $30,000. I did the calculations. You can save about $30,000 if you got your kids to take 10 exams. And some of them are worth 6 credits. So the For Dummies series books are amazing. It's funny because a lot of times when I talk to people about the Civil War, and they swear to God that I'm like a Civil War historian. No, I just read Civil War for Dummies. And like I said, nowadays we got Wikipedia, which is a beast. This book right here, everybody that complains about information security, what is it called, burnout, I heard it a lot. They need to read this book. So, and this book is the funniest book ever. So it has more F-bombs in it than any book I've read in my life, especially in the first chapter. But what's cool about this book is it gives you the ability to concentrate on what really matters. And personally, what I've learned is you can probably just concentrate on one thing at a time. I see so many people coming in cybersecurity and they want to know everything. I tell people, you're good if you know one thing well in cybersecurity. And you could build a whole career on learning something better than anybody else. So I think it's cool to experiment and listen and learn from the talks. But even the people up here talking on stage, they're probably only good at one thing. If you ask somebody, they might tell you I'm not good at nothing. But focus on what really matters and execute like crazy. So if that's getting a college degree, just focus on that. Just throw everything else to the side. If it's getting that certification, get that certification. And that's kind of how that works. So, and down to the interview. So here's my tips for interviewing. Only put on your resume, when I interview somebody, I interview them only on what's on their resume. So if you set yourself up for failure if you put stuff that you don't know on your resume, put everything that you're really good at on your resume and talk about stuff on your resume. Learn how to do redirection and talk about stuff that you know. And every place is not a good fit. But I only interview people based on what's on the resume. So if they have, I'm a this programmer, I ask them about that. So if people are asking you outside of that or something like that, you probably don't want to work there anyway. Because what I've found is if people are trying to fit you into some kind of position or whatever, no matter who they pick, they're not going to know everything required for that job requirement. It takes anybody in this room about 6 months to know what they're doing. And by 6 months, you'll probably be better than everybody on that team. And that's kind of how I view these things. So Denzel, if you want to be a pen tester, this is Denzel in Training Day. He says if you want to catch a wolf, you got to be a wolf. Wolves are mean. Don't be a sheep and following what everybody's saying, because probably nobody knows what they're talking about, including me. Don't be a sheep. That's the end of my talk. Thank you very much.
So we have a few minutes for some questions. Anybody got questions for Marcus?
No questions?
Oh, here we got some.
Right,
okay,
cool.
Here we go. Hold on, pass the mic down.
Oh, sorry. So in order to take those tests that you're talking about, can you just go online and sign up? Do you have to go through a university to try to test out of some of those classes, or how do you actually do that so it gets counted as college credit?
Yeah. So most colleges offer these tests, especially most state colleges. Some private colleges don't do it. So a local state college or even a community college probably offer these tests. You can probably go to their testing center, is where all the college kids take their tests, and you can totally sign up online. You can download those exam outlines yourself, buy the books, and just go take the test. You don't have to be registered to the college, typically.
Can you show the slide of that college where you got your master's from again?
Okay, Capital Technology University. So that college was totally an online program, which is a really good program. When I was at NSA, NSA had a partnership with that program, and they paid for a lot of NSA people to go through that program. And when I got out the military, I went to that program because all my heroes, kind of, people I looked up to went to that college. So it's right down the road from NSA, about 15 minutes from NSA. So that's why I went to that college. One up here, Matt.
Sorry, just to reemphasize, to pass certifications, just look at the breakdown percentages of where everything's focused on. High percentages, go for that, study that in and out.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
So yeah, look for, and also online forums. They'll give you some clues as well. But just know the stuff that's the highest percentages, like the back of your hand, and you'll pass the test. You don't have to study everything. I figured. Is that good?
Thanks.
That's good. Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you very much.